Hello everyone and welcome to another Google Ads tutorial. Today we're going to create a demand gen campaign together. We're going to show how to create a proper demand gen campaign step by step. Before we go straight to the point, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps tremendously to create new content, so thank you very much in advance. And let's get started. So step number one, obviously we're going to log into our Google Ads. We are going to go to campaigns and we are going to click the plus symbol here. So we are going to say we want to start a new campaign. And once we land on this screen, I always go for create a campaign without guidance. This is going to help me to have all the options and therefore I can choose manually what I want to create. Here under select a campaign type, we're going to say demand gen. Now, demand gen is a campaign that shows on the entire or almost the entire Google ecosystem on many channels like YouTube, Gmail, and so forth. Now, here we don't necessarily need to select the goals. We can actually go ahead and say continue. We're going to start the campaign creation. We're going to give our campaign a name. So you can come here and you can say, this is my test, let's say demand gen campaign. And now let's start with the important thing. So first of all, for those of you who run e-commerce, you have a chance here under product feeds to say, I want to run a product feed. I want to connect my product feed so you can actually convert this demand gen campaign to an alternative shopping campaign. If you are not into e-commerce, this option is not relevant for you, so you can ignore it. Now, when it comes to campaign goals, there are three ways to optimize demand gen campaigns: conversions, clicks, and conversion value, meaning revenue. Revenue only matters for e-commerce companies, so most companies will have to choose between conversions, outcomes that happen on your website, form completions, leads that you generate, transactions, whatever it is for your business, or clicks. Ideally, what I always say for any campaign type, always go for conversions. I can't really think of many examples where going for clicks is actually a viable option. So we are going to go for conversions, and the next thing we need to do is to select our conversion goals. So from everything that you are currently tracking on Google Ads, what is the conversion goal that you want to optimize for? Is it, let's say, a sale? Is it a visit to a specific page? Is it a booking or for an appointment and so forth? So we're going to select our conversion goal, and then we need, or we have the option, actually we don't need to do it, but we have the option to set a target cost per action. Now, target cost per action is not really mandatory for you to actually input the target CPA. Only input the target CPA if you have historical data, even on other campaign types, and you know, for example, that normally we get leads, let's say, for $10. So our cost per acquisition is, let's say, $20. If you don't know, you don't have historical data, just leave this empty and let the campaign run, and then afterwards you will always have the chance to come and adjust it. When it comes to the budget and the dates here, we have an option to go with daily budget or a campaign total. If we go with a campaign total, we need a start date and an end date. I assume that most of you are going to be flexible. You're going to run this campaign for either forever, or you're going to run this campaign for a very long time, or you don't know when you're going to pause it. So go with daily budget. So here we're going to input our daily budget. Now, what is a good daily budget? Google, based on the history of your account, will tell you, for example, what is a good budget for your campaign. But I would say have a look at the right-hand side estimated campaign results. A good budget is a budget that is going to get you some conversions, or a good budget, if you look at the history of your cost per click, is a budget that is going to get you at least, I would say, 100 clicks a week as the bare minimum, right? So, or maybe if you want the rule of thumb, I would probably never run Google Ads campaigns with a budget less than $10 per day. I don't think it's going to be worthy. So the higher the budget, the better the performance is going to be in general. That's applicable to all the campaigns. Now, location and language, super actually straightforward settings. We're going to enable location and language targeting here with a button. We can choose, when it comes to location, to target a single country. We can choose to target a group of countries. We can choose to target a region or a state, let's say California. We can choose to target a city, let's say Bangalore. We can choose to target a neighborhood within the city, so let's say Bukit Timah in Singapore. Or we can go even here to advanced search and we can target a radius. So let's say we want to target a radius around, let's say, Raffles Place in Singapore. So we're going to type here the place, let's say 1 mile. We're going to select it, and now we're going to target a radius around the specific location. Radius targeting is not something that I would recommend for most companies. It only works accurately in mature countries like USA, UK, Germany, and so forth. And it's only relevant if you are absolutely certain that your audience lives in these specific neighborhoods or these specific areas. Instead of radius targeting for emerging markets or developing countries, I would advise to go for city level targeting. When it comes to languages now, again, it depends on two things. It depends on the language of your website or the language of, let's say, your potential customers. But I would say align here the option, the language option, with the language of your website, right? So if your website is in English, either leave it to all languages if you live, let's say, in places that are multicultural, or you go for English. But if your website is in German, in Spanish, then choose the right language here. Devices, we have here the option to come and exclude. The first thing that I would exclude is TV screens for sure, unless you run video campaigns. If you run video campaigns, then TV screens can actually stay in. Ad scheduling, we can schedule the ads to run at a specific time of the day and specific days of the week. I would advise you to avoid it. Every time I used ad scheduling, the campaign performance was never great. And that's the most important settings here. Now, every demand gen campaign can have more than one ad groups, right? So basically, in every ad group, we can choose different targeting criteria. So now here, we're going to create one ad group, and this is where we can actually select the channel. So we can say, let's target all Google channels, meaning YouTube. If we actually go here to let me choose, you're going to see them. YouTube includes in-stream, in-feed, and Shorts, Discover, Gmail, and Display Network. Or you can say, let me choose, and you can come here and you can say, let's run, for example, only on Discover, only on, let's say, the in-stream of YouTube, the YouTube Shorts, and that's it. Or let's convert this into a Gmail campaign, for example, right? So that's also an option that is available for you. So be mindful of the channels that you are targeting. If you want maximum reach, you can actually go for all Google channels. If you want better quality inventory, I would exclude Google Display Network. If you have something specific in mind, then you can actually come here and either select or deselect certain options. Now, the most important part, and probably the part that most of you are interested in, targeting. Demand gen campaigns are a little bit of a black box. So here there is the audience option. We can click here to add an audience. And if you have audiences before, you can select one if you're familiar with audiences, or you can come here and you can create an audience. Now, keep in mind, an audience signal, as it is called, it is a suggestion to the algorithm. This means that the system is not going to respect 100% whatever you're going to input here. It's going to take everything you input here as a suggestion, and it's going to apply machine learning to find the right users. So be a little bit more relaxed here, because again, this is not the specific people that you're going to target. This is a suggestion to the algorithm. And because it is a suggestion to the algorithm, you need to input as many options as possible. So let's start with, let's say, the way the interface works, custom segments. So what can we do here with custom segments? We can actually create a new segment, and we can actually say here that we want to show our ads to people who search for certain keywords on Google. So let's say we want to serve our ads to people who search for, let's say, coffee beans on Google, or espresso coffee beans, Ethiopian coffee beans, and so forth. So one option is to create a segment that is relevant, let's say, to what people look for in Google, and then the system will find these people and target them when they are on Gmail, when they are on YouTube, and so forth. The other option is to create a segment based on, let's say, certain interests. So I want to target, let's say, people who have an interest in Ethiopia coffee beans, for example. The other option that is more powerful is to target people who visited specific websites before, or websites similar to, let's say, IKEA.com, or let's say your competitive website. So input your competitors' websites that are similar to your business here, and create a segment with competitive websites, and you can input this in your audience signal. And the other thing you can do, it's very similar with what we explain now, is to do the same thing with applications. So I want to target people who, let's say, have Candy Crush in their phone, or they have specific, let's say, mobile app. So that's the segments option, which in my opinion is the most interesting option when we have here to create an audience. I'm going to call it test audience. The other thing you can do is, if you have remarketing audiences that you already created, so let's say people who visited your website before, people who, let's say, came to your website, took one action but not another, you actually synced audiences from Google Analytics, you can find them here, and you can attach them basically to your demand gen campaign. Now, if you have segments or if you have audiences, you can also create basically lookalike audiences. So you can say, for example, look into the new users that people came on the site, go to, let's say here, Greece, and create a similar audience that is, let's say, either narrow, balanced, or broad, based on, let's say, these new users. So you can also create lookalike segments, as they call them on Google. The next option is to go with interest and detailed demographics. So that's something that most of us are very familiar with, kind of traditional targeting. We're going to come here, we're going to select the categories, the interest categories, affinity, in-market audiences, and so forth, based on what people did while they were browsing on Google, or based on what people search for. Now, you can also exclude audiences, which is actually quite interesting, because let's say you can exclude people who already bought, for example, or you can exclude certain audiences that maybe you don't want to target. And the last option is here, demographics. So you can choose between male, female, always keep unknown enabled. You can actually customize your age group. You can choose parental status here, or household income. Household income is not very accurate in most countries. It probably works best in the UK, USA, and so forth. So that's a wealth of, I would say, options that you have to input and to create an audience for your demand gen campaign. And in my opinion, again, when you create an audience for demand gen, you have two options. Option one, if you intend to run only one ad group, so let's say I have one campaign, one ad group, try to input as many criteria, as many targeting criteria in your audience signal. If your intention now here is to create multiple ad groups, then you can say, okay, I'm going to create one ad group one here, where I'm going to actually put only remarketing audiences, and then I'm going to duplicate this. And in this ad group here, I am going to input a different, let's say, set of targeting criteria, a different set of signals. Keep in mind, however, that this is a signal, it is a suggestion to the algorithm, it is not going to be exact targeting. Now, there is this option that is called optimized targeting. So optimized targeting, actually, if you check this box, it means that Google Ads has the option to go above and beyond, like totally above and beyond your audience signal, meaning that the algorithm is going to probably completely ignore all your inputs and just target very broadly to find the right users. You have another option if you go with optimized targeting to, let's say, limit the ads within, let's say, at least the right demographics. In my opinion, if you actually go through all the steps needed to create an audience signal, and you spend time creating an audience signal, you can deselect this option. And that's the targeting that comes at the ad group level. Now, what you need to do is to go to the ad section, right? And you have three options here. Either you're going to create image ads, or you're going to create video ads, or you're going to create a carousel ad that can have up to 10 different cards. What is the best option? First of all, every ad group can only have one type of ad. So either you're going to go for image ads, or you're going to go for video ads, or you're going to go for carousel image ads. So one thing you can do, if let's say you want, you can duplicate, let's say, your ad group once you create your audience signal, and maybe you have one ad group with image ads, one ad group with video ads, and one ad group with carousel, and then you can compare what works best once you run the campaign. I wouldn't say that there is a type of ad actually here that is superior. It depends on the quality of your messaging, the quality of your offer, your product, and the creative. Some people may say that video ads have an edge. Video ads meaning we're going to use YouTube videos and we are going to promote those. A single image ad can be equally powerful. Anything can work. But if you want me to give you a straight answer, let's say you push me and you say, okay, choose one. If it was like life and death situation, life and death situation in Google Ads, but let's say if it was, which type of ad would you go with? Single image video or carousel? I would go with video. I believe video is the best type of creative nowadays. And depending on the type of ad that you're going to select, you are going to upload the assets. So if you select image ads, you are going to upload up to 20 images. You are going to upload up to 5 logos. Make sure you fill in all the options when it comes to copywriting, all the options when it comes to descriptions. Make sure you customize your call to action. Same thing when you create a video ad, a carousel ad. Make sure that you don't ignore copywriting. You include all the options so that the system can optimize to its best possible ability. And that's it. The next step is to simply review the campaign. You publish the campaign, then you're going to look at the results, and you are going to see how your demand gen campaign works. What you need to remember, the most important things or the most important tips. The power of demand gen campaigns is on choosing the channels. So the entire, I would say, benefit of running a demand gen campaign is that we can actually choose the channels that we want to advertise on. So under the ad group, we can actually come here to channels. We can choose whether we want to run a source only campaign, discover only campaign, Gmail only campaign, display network maybe only campaign. Under demand gen, this doesn't make sense. You can run display campaign, but that's the most powerful feature in my opinion. And also the fact that we can actually have one campaign, we can have multiple ad groups, and every ad group can target a different channel within the Google ecosystem separately. So we can actually see whether YouTube Shorts perform better than Discover, perform better than Gmail, and so forth. The second thing you need to remember when it comes to audiences, you have two choices. If you are going to create just one ad group, then create a super powerful audience signal. If your intention is to have multiple ad groups, then you have the luxury to create audience signals that are a little bit more specific, and then you spread them out into different ad groups so you can compare the performance. And that's the full setup from start to end when it comes to creating a demand gen campaign in Google Ads. A lot of things to take in. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Let me know maybe if you have any suggestions yourself. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day in any time zone. Thank you, everyone.